she's getting an X-ray at Dodge State Medical Center. The facility where she stays at said that we'll call you when we leave Cimarron, that's where she stays, and head to the hospital. So we'll just take a moment. We're going to pray for Julie just for a second. And Lord, we just pray that nothing would be broken and that her recovery would be smooth and quick in the powerful name of Jesus.
Yeah.
Amen.
Amen.
And, speaking this week, James has been a big part of my life here lately. I haven't known him a lot, but he did remind me that there's something that I haven't told all of you. I told the leadership team at our last board meeting, but I got started in ministry as a youth pastor. And it was like, anybody on their Facebook feed love when a cool memory comes up? Like, I love that feature. Because you're not really thinking about that day 5 years ago and didn't know that it happened then. But when that pops up, and this last week I had a couple student ministry events happen where we were in a van and there's like too many kids in there. We weren't moving, okay, but they had seatbelts on when we moved. But we were just piled in there to take a picture, and that picture came back up, and I am having the privilege of and in the process of just inviting James into being the youth pastor for our church. So he's participating with that and learning. He's like a lot of guys, he's trying to read the books I'm giving him. And but he's reached out to students and he loves kids. I mean, he's around college-age kids, and I saw that in him because he would be like, I'm not a Snapchatter or a lot of like the newer media, and he's just on it. Like, he's just back and forth playing games on here with him, and that's normally a sign of relationships is you meet somebody where they're at, not where you want them to be. And in youth ministry, or in any sort of ministry, you got to meet people where they're at. Jesus met you right where you were at. The word says he died for you while we were yet what?
Sinner.
Everybody call yourself a sinner real quick. 1, 2, 3.
Sinner.
Okay? Like that's just part of what he did, was he pursued you before you even wanted to be pursued. Okay? And in ministry, that's what he invites us to do. And so, privilege of introducing today James Hersey, who is your local youth pastor, and he's doing a message on inviting faith. So would you give him a round of applause as he comes? You ready? Your mic all on and everything? You good?
Am I on?
Did you turn it on?
Can you hear me now? Is that Sprint or Verizon now?
Sprint.
Sprint. It was Verizon when I was eating.
Did you turn it on?
Huh?
You got to power it on.
It's on.
You got to hit your button.
I gotta hit my button. I told you to just do the button. I don't want to hit buttons, man.
Just make it light up. You got this.
Get down. Hit the button, it's still red.
Yellow.
No, it's red.
That's all right.
Is it on?
I don't know. Keep going. Check, check, check.
Check.
No.
Check.
We're struggling here. See why he needs training?
Yeah.
How about
I need training.
you put good batteries in?
I need training. I'm the one that needs the training, apparently.
Okay, I'll take over while y'all are waiting. Jason, do you know where the sign-up sheet for the nursery is?
There's one pinned to the bulletin board in the office, a copy of it anyway.
Okay. I believe we still need people to sign up, so I'm gonna go grab that sign-up sheet and pass it around. Next Sunday, we're gonna try something different. The kids, if y'all have children, as soon as you get here, we're gonna go ahead and take them to the nursery and keep them occupied with some things we're trying. We're gonna expand our children's ministry a little bit. So, just to let you all know that's coming, and so that if you have young ones, you can drop them off at the nursery when you get there, and we'll keep them busy coloring and singing songs. And the same goes for the older kids, too. We'll keep them busy, too.
Thank you. Hey, I'm on now. Whoa. This is cool. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's been quite the week, quite the journey trying to write a message. So I really wanted to throw down the gauntlet for myself. So I started the week with cooking for a chef. I decided that's a wise way to start the week. If I'm going to fail, start on Monday, you know. So I cooked for a chef, and he's clearly alive. He didn't die, so I call that a success. And I really wanted to talk this week about inviting faith, because I feel like that there's some misconceptions about faith, and we get lost in what faith is and what you have to do with it. So I talked with Jason, and we really wanted to create a comparison between growing faith, and growing a plant or a tree or, you know, anything. There's processes and steps and work to be done to do that stuff. So that's what this is about, and I'll start with Matthew 13. This is the Message version, verses 3 through 9. A farmer planted seed. As he scattered the seed, some of it fell on the road, and birds devoured it. Some fell in the gravel. It sprouted quickly, but could not put down roots. So when the sun came up, it withered just as quickly as it sprouted. Some fell in the weeds. As it came up, it was strangled by the weeds. Some fell on good soil and produced harvest beyond his expectations. So I sat down with Jason. Jason's a farmer, and I said, Jason, what's the process of growing crops? Like, where do you start? What's that look like? I'm not a farmer. I've tried to grow stuff in the past, but it never really worked out. So he told me cultivation and fertilization. So you kind of stir up the soil and get some fertilizer in there, and you're creating a good environment for seeds to grow. What that looks like in faith is invitation and relationships. You build relationships with people. It's not just inviting them to church. It's having dinner, having awkward silences, battling through that stuff. That's really what that looks like on the faith side. We cultivate by inviting people and building relationships with those people. Fertilization is the culture that we create here, the Jesus culture. You know, that's really the fertilizer of this patch of soil that we have, you know. And it gives a favorable condition to grow roots, Jesus culture. And then the next step in growing crops is you plant the seed. You throw your seeds down, and as we saw in the parable, Jesus refers to the farmer planting the seed in various conditions. And the question that came to me is, who's the farmer? The seeds of your faith, who's the farmer? You're the farmer. The seeds that you plant in your faith are going to be where you plant them. So if you're relying on drugs, or you're relying on the bottle, as I have in the past, that's where your faith is going to be. So that's what you're going to turn to every time. When we try to compare planting a crop and planting faith, you know, who is the farmer? Who can plant seeds of faith? It's not our job as Christians to plant faith, in my perspective. Our job is to water that faith, to help that faith grow. But the planting of the faith, the person has to walk through the door. You can't walk through the door for them. But you invite them. You invite them, and you help that faith grow. You give them water. You lean in and have relationships and have dinners with them. The next step is water and encourage. After you've planted the seed, you cannot just walk away and have an expectation of crop to grow. You can't just, oh, there's my seed, that's good, I'll come back in a couple weeks and harvest my crop. It doesn't work like that. There's work to do. There's processes to do. There's things to do. You can't just say, oh, I believe in this, I go to church every Sunday, and that's it. How strong do you think that faith is going to be? After you've planted your seed, there's still more work to do. You have to protect your seed, right? Anybody have grandmothers here that had a garden? They don't want the kids playing in the garden, don't want animals running through the garden, because you have to protect your seeds. You planted those, you've watered them, you've cultivated them, you have to protect them. What does that look like in faith? That looks like your private disciplines. What are you doing when nobody else is around? Are you praying? Are you fasting? Are you giving? What are you doing when no one's there to say, hey, you probably shouldn't be doing that? What, your integrity, your faith-based integrity. What are you building in yourself? Because if you don't build it, if you don't grow it in here, it's not real. It sprouts quickly. It's the loudest amen and the greatest hallelujah on Sunday, but Monday through Saturday, lost. No faith, no God orientation whatsoever. And those private disciplines, the things that you do in private, they're like weeding. They're like taking those undesirable things out of your garden. And anybody that knows how weeds work, they grow constantly. They're never going to stop. They keep coming. They're always going to be around, and they're always going to be a threat to your garden, to your harvest. But you weed them out by getting rid of the worry, the doubt, and the fear. Those are weeds, and they will choke your faith out. You won't have anything to believe in at the end of the week if you can't get rid of worry, doubt, and fear. Those are the weeds that you have to get rid of, and you do that through praying, fasting, and giving. The last and best part of the planting process is the harvest. That's where you reap what you sow. You get to take in all that hard work, all that cultivating and fertilization, all that guarding and protecting. It's come to fruition. It's paying off. And what that looks like is what you take out. Like, you don't really know what you have for faith until you're attacked. Not one person in here can know how strong their faith is until they come under attack. I think that there's different kinds of faith, and I think that it's much like a seed, and it grows as we grow in Christ. Small, weak faith is what happens at the beginning, and what happens in small, weak faith is when you're attacked, you have a fight or flight mentality. Is anybody familiar with that? Jeff, you're probably familiar with that. It's, okay, I see everybody circling. I see all the wolves at the door. I'm going to fight this under my understanding, under my strength. I got this. I don't need anybody. I don't need anything. I'm going to fight this. And the other side of that is flight. This is really uncomfortable. I'm getting attacked. They're all around me. I don't know how to get out of this. And what does the enemy do? He whispers in your ear, I know how you get out of this. The bottle. Or sex. Or drugs. You run. You run into the open arms of the enemy. You take in that comfort, that momentary comfort that has no lasting effect. It eases your stress for the moment, but it doesn't stay with you. Big faith, on the other hand, big faith is, man, you see those wolves circling around you. Can you guys imagine that? Like, big, angry, bad mamma jammas. And they're all around you. And you don't see a way out. And in that moment, that big faith says, I can't do this. I can't get out of this. But I know who can. I see you. I see you. And I'm not going to fight you. My Father's going to fight you. Because my Father is bigger than anything you have to throw at me. My Father will protect me all day long. Every day. I don't have to fear you. I don't have to run away. I am going to stay right here because that's where He put me. That's where God put me. And I'm going to stay here until He tells me to move. Some people that are very close to me, Coach Lowell, Coach Lowell's family, Sta'Nisha, they recently went through something where they had to make a choice to do the right thing. And that's when the attacks come the most, is when you choose to do the right thing. So they chose to do the right thing. And man, did the wolves circle. They circled and they circled. And they were salivating. They thought they were going to eat us up. But yet here we remain. Here we are. Because we prayed. We knew it was too big for us. Coach Lowell, Andrea, and Sta'Nisha, and myself, we prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed. And God carried us through that. And the whole time, I don't know, like, Coach Lowell, like, you never looked worried. You never looked shook. That's faith, man. He knew it was going to be okay. He didn't just think it was going to be okay. He knew it was going to be okay. He's like, no, this is... Come on. Attack. Go ahead. My Father's bigger.
Yeah.
That's big. A good way to show your faith is inviting people. It's hard. I tried it all week because I was writing this message. I was like, practice what you preach thing. I invited everybody that walked past me. Like, if there was eye contact or anything, I was like, hey, you want to come to church? No? Okay. So, what do we talk about now? How are you? You want to come to church? No, still no. Okay. So, it's hard. It's awkward. You don't know what their past experience is. You don't know what their religion is. You don't know if they follow religion. Who cares, man? Who cares?
Yeah.
Turn to your neighbor right now and tell him it's about you and not about me. It's not about how comfortable you feel. It's about you believing in Jesus. Is there anybody in this room, I don't know if there's anybody, there might be. Is there anybody in this room that believes Jesus died for us? Show of hands. Anybody? So why wouldn't you want to invite somebody to that? I get to live in paradise because this man died for me. This God came to earth and died for me, and I get to go to paradise. I'm in. Count me in. I want everybody to have that. Every single person that I pass, mostly every person I pass. If you cut me off, like, there's a part of me that I got to pray for me and you. Like, come on. Now, in the spirit of inviting and making people extremely uncomfortable, this is going to be fun, you guys. It's going to be good. Trust me. I would like everybody to move up in the pews, come as far forward as you can, and sit next to somebody. Come on. It's good. Trust me, it's an illustration. You'll get it. Yeah, that's fine. We'll start. Moving around. Look how in and tight we are, like a big old family. So in writing this message, Jason and I, we were talking, and we kind of when we talk, it goes on to religious views and speaking about God, and then it'll go to a movie we saw, and then it'll come back to God, and sometimes it's both. So we were talking about the world, and we often talk about politics, and man, we're in a giant ship that's sinking. We are on the Titanic. And there's a bunch of people that don't think it's sinking. They don't believe it. There's a bunch of people that are trying to bail water out, trying to save the ship. Here's our perspective. We can see paradise off in the distance. But none of us, no one here, I don't care how strong you are, Jeff, none of us here, because you're right there. I see you. None of us can make that swim. We were never intended or able or equipped to make that swim. But the good news is, there's a lifeboat. This feels like a lifeboat, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Look behind you at all the seats we have available to get people saved. No, really, look behind you. There's plenty of room on our boat. There is plenty of room on our boat. But we cannot sit here comfortable on our boat and say, this is my spot, this is my pew, I'm saved, I'm going to worry about me. It's not about you.
That's good.
Get off the lifeboat, go back in there and save somebody. That's what I'm trying to do every day. I'm trying to learn how to do that, and I don't always know how to do it, and it's awkward, and it's uncomfortable sometimes, but it's good because God saved us, and I see that island, and I see it described in Revelations, and it's paradise. It's better than anything that we can imagine here. So get off the lifeboat and go get the people that are bailing water, the people that are walking around. You know, has anyone seen the movie Titanic? The rich people, they're standing around, they don't believe it, they're having cognac and, oh yeah, how's the stocks? This ship isn't sinking. Does anybody feel that about our world in here? Does anybody feel like our world's just fine the way it is? I was good, because if you are, I was going to tell you to get out. Yeah, I lost my place. Okay, so I made a move to the... Okay, they all hate me. Yeah, okay. Box. No, I wanted to wrap up with the story of my invitation, because this message or sermon or whatever you want to call it, it's not great because I'm not a preacher yet. I would love to be one someday, but there's learning, there's growth, there's awkwardness, there's uncomfortable to go through, and I understand that. But it never would have started without an invitation. Sta'Nisha invited me to go to Ignite, and it changed everything. Hannah, Joe, did it not change everything? I was a different human. Hannah, Joe, stand up please for a second. These are my two beautiful sisters. And they're my sisters because we went to college together at Dodge State Community College, and though younger than me, they loved me where I was at. They never judged me. They never told me what to do or how I should be ashamed of myself. They just loved me where I was at. I'd go out somewhere and get drunk and didn't know how to get home, and I would call them and they would come get me. Every time. Didn't matter what time it was. And I loved them because they loved me. And that led me to hang on, to have hope. And Sta'Nisha, you invited me to Ignite, and Jeff, man, if Jeff's voice isn't inviting, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, that's good.
And then we went to the Naz, and you guys just bounced. I'm going there every week, and I'm like, okay, this is weird, Jeff's not singing again. Alright, hi guys. It worked out, right? Yeah. And I randomly asked them because Nancy posts literally everything on Facebook, so if you need to know where they are, you don't need to call them, just look at Nancy's Facebook. I swear, that's how you find them most of the time.
She's a marketing director.
Yeah, clearly a marketing director. I didn't know the Meridians needed a marketing director, but they definitely had one. So I found out that they had gone to the gathering, and I think she posted something about coming here, and I messaged them, and Jeff's like, "Oh yeah, you should come with us next Sunday." You know, we came here. And the atmosphere when we walked in the door was inviting. Jason did something that was really important. It was very small, but it was really important. connected with me as I left. And that's a form of invitation too. He connected with me, and just kind of said, not the passing, hey, thanks for coming. It was, man, I'm really glad you're here. And I felt like he was. And then he texted me randomly the next week. I didn't even give the guy my number. You CIA brother. Yeah. Are you CIA brother? And he invited me to lunch. And I just, those little things, those little awkward things, like, let's go to lunch. Yeah, I don't know you. Who wants to go to lunch with James? He's kind of obnoxious. I am, but it's funny sometimes. I know that because people are laughing. They don't like me enough to laugh for my sake. Those little awkward moments, they're tough to get through, but once you get through them, there's real growth on the other side. When you plant those seeds, when you are trying to grow a crop, the most important growth, you never see it. You never see it because it's just below the surface. The roots are the most important growth that you'll ever go through. And those awkward moments and those uncomfortable moments where you have to talk to somebody about Jesus, and that's beyond me how that's uncomfortable, because he's like the greatest thing since before sliced bread. Way before sliced bread. But that's it. That's all I got. Jeff, do you want to come up? I'd like Jeff to slow clap. I like the way I did it. The slow clap. I feel like I'm on a Disney movie now. Jeff's going to do this song. This is by far my favorite song that Jeff does. It's called Yearn, and it just describes how I feel about God and how I want to feel and continue to feel about God. That's it, man.
You do great. Didn't he do great? Yeah.
Slow step.
I think, what time is it? 40?
Kind of rushed through that.
See, you guys like his preaching.
C4, man. It's like small package, short.
But very explosive.
Yeah, just explosion out.
I think,
Jason's gonna make up for it, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, like, before, he set this huge bar.
laughing.
Like,
I was yelling at the beginning.
yeah, like you're pulling out your best stuff as a preacher right before I have to come up here. That's like him. That's like him. Like, I go to his house to cook, and he had, like, appetizers already. I'm like, oh, man. You're not supposed to cook, man. Let me do it.
No, I think what I would like to do is take communion while they do this song, and just keep moving, because there's in your bulletin, and while we're taking communion, I want to make sure we get as many bulletins in people's hands. So if elders and servers, you would come and prepare the communion table. As they sing this song, we're going to take communion. We believe that union with God happens in moments. It always makes me. It always happens in moments where you say, God, I'll take a step, and I'll trust that you provided this communion experience, not for yourself, but for me. And so as we take this is something that, and I like this because you're going to be a little closer to one another as you take communion. It's like an elbow room here. And because what communion really should mean is coming close. And actually trying to come close to God today, individually, but what I love is that the people of God is what Jesus was after. He was after us as a group, and that helps the individual feel like they're part of something. Like Jesus was brilliant in saying, I'm going to build my church, and the gates of hell will not overcome it, because these people are going to love each other. And nothing can stop love. That's what happened with him. Those two amazing women right there loved him. As you take communion...
No idea why, by the way.
I don't either. It's fine. But just in this moment of communion, that is not a singular blip on the map thing that's just existed in James's life. God placed them around you and called them to obedience to serve and love you in that season of your life. And God today is doing the very same thing in your life and in mine. There's some people that he's going to put in your path, or you already see their face. They're coming. You know who they are, and you're going to get to be around them this week. That he said, I want you to love them. I want you to love them really well and not judge them. He said it like he's just got Jason Jesus culture language all over it. Because not judgment, staying away from that and just meeting people right where they are, that's the path. That's really the only way it works. The guilt just makes it worse. Okay, the guilt makes it worse if you can just resolve the guilt like Jesus resolved the guilt with the cross. Don't resolve it with your opinion. Never works. Resolve it with the cross. That's the only way that works. When you have something that you see as glaring in somebody else's life, oh God, the reason why you're able to love them is because you died for them. You love them. So will I. Out of reverence for you, I will submit to them. Because I love you, I will love them deeply. Yeah, he's got road rage, so we're going to pray for him.
Yes, please, everybody.
We're just going to take some time, and while we take communion, I just want you to listen for the voice of God and what he's calling you to. And it will just be probably to love the person next to you that you're going to be around this week. Would you pray for me as we pray with Brian as we take communion?
Heavenly Father, at this time I ask that you are with each one of the souls in this room as we partake of these symbols in remembrance of all that you've done for us and you continue to do for us. We love you today, Jesus, and we know that you love us. In your sweet name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Holy design, this place in time, that I might seek and find my God, my God. 'Cause Lord, I want to yearn for you. I want to burn with passion over you. And only you, Lord, I want to yearn. Your joy is mine. And why might not find with all my singing and bringing grain in light of Him? I want to yearn for you. I want to burn with passion over you. And only you. 'Cause Lord, I want to yearn for you. I want to burn with passion over you. And
finishing the community experience, something happened in our community last week that I wanted to acknowledge here, and I wanted us to just think about if we could prevent through investment and making something intentional. There was a middle school student, most of you probably heard this, a middle school student that thought life was at such a desperate situation. Middle school, like 12, 14 years old, 12 to 14, right in those years. Thought life was not worth living. Jesus said some just very simple words, but very profound. He said, "You are the light of the world. City on a hill. Don't hide it. Don't be ashamed of it. This little light, bring it with some others. Make it a big light. Make other people feel like they can come here with you and glow. Not just show up, and come here and glow. Come here and be great." And when we think about giving, when we think about taking money out of our account and putting it in a church account so that it could be utilized as a resource, I want you to think of a situation like that. Prevention. Prevention, prevention, prevention. Prevention costs more, but it's better. Okay, crisis management, none of us like to live in crisis. But if you don't invest in prevention, you will live in a lot of crisis. A lot of you have locks on your door. That's prevention from theft. Not saying it will stop everybody, but what we would love to do as a church is have such a prevention mindset that we have programs, we have funded ministries, we have great children's, we have great marriage stuff, and all of that takes two sorts of funding: financial and volunteer. Financial and volunteer. If you just have a bunch of money and nobody who wants to do anything, it doesn't matter. If you just have a bunch of people and no resources to get anything done, you're going to be limited in the impact that you can have. What if we could have both? Everybody saying, "I'll row, I'll help. I'd try and mentor a middle school kid. I'd go through some of those awkward conversations. I'd take them for a pop at Sonic once it gets reconstructed." You know what I'm saying? Did anybody freak anybody else out? I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I just thought of that this week, and I had one kid in my youth ministry that after he graduated a couple years later, he committed suicide. And he had hit his knees at camp and tried and some things. But just life. So I'm not saying youth ministry, everything will make everything better, but I'm just saying that the ways that we invest, we're trying to be about people. Not just inside people, but something that's a light in the community that could branch out and could reach somebody that just, man, they're just on the last thread of hope. And if that thread snaps, they're gone. And we don't have a chance to minister to them again. So when you think about when we pass these, whoever picked this to say this is what you pass at a church, I wish there could be pictures of people's faces on this. I wish my face was on here, because this reached me. I'm not trying to get all givey on you. I'm just trying to be real with you of what this means. That this is everywhere that something's funded that impacts people's lives, those dollars made a difference in that life. And if it's just a buck or whatever it is, but I want you guys come on back, prepare for offering. I really didn't plan that. I just like being all emotional, heartstrings pulling. Don't get your wallet out today if you felt like that from that. Okay, don't get it out. Okay, because we're not in a spot we're going to build a big youth ministry yet, but we would love to. Okay, we would love to impact teens and help them in their faith at a young age. And we would like to help marriages. We would like to help anybody who will let us help them. Okay, let us plug them in with God. What I want to do is a couple volunteers, and let's pass as many of these out real quick. Would you take care of that side of the room, and somebody on this side of the room that's right up front here, help? Carol, would you pass those out? Just make sure anybody who doesn't have a bulletin, there's just some stuff on here that you need to see. I want everybody to have one so you can look at it. And one of them is the way that we've made giving as simple as we can. Okay, we live in not just a check and cash world, we also live in a digital giving world. And we have some awesome people who have just made giving a non-issue as far as it happens online every week. And it's pretty cool. Mine does this. And it sends me an email of every week I get the same amount. And we pre-decide that year, here's our goal to give this much to that organization. We pre-decide and say, that's how much. And when we have extra, we give extra. But this is pre-decided. I wanted to give you, can I have one of those? Just want to be able to read. Thanks. On the very back, just want you to look at it, on the very back, this is just a tool, okay? This isn't an end-all, be-all, but this is a tool. If you will get out a phone right now, and this won't make you give anything, but it'll get you linked in if you want to give digitally instead of a recurring gift or just a one-time gift. If you text Will Rhodes, that word, that keyword, to 77977, it'll send you a link back to right there on your phone. You can give. You can set up whatever you wanted to, okay? And this is not for everybody, understand that, but this is just a tool that if that's the way you give, and you like to do stuff digitally, I just want to point it out and make it aware. Even some new folks have come in and just read it off the back of the bulletin, and they do it. So when we talk about money, I try and picture faces, because a lot of times we think about Benjamin and Abraham, and it's like, I'm giving these presidential faces away, but really what you're giving to is faces that are being impacted here and could be impacted in the future if we have the resources for it. Okay? That makes sense? It'd be like a big, that's good. Jeez. No, they're great, You go, Bruce, we're going to pray for all.
Lord, we thank you for giving us the means to be able to give back. It's all yours in the first place. Father, I just pray that you'll be with us as we make the decisions of where it's spent and how it's spent. But most of all, that it can all be done for your glory and to minister to people. In your name we pray. Amen.
Oh, you give life and breath. In you we live and move. That's the way I see. Lord, I wanna yearn for you. I wanna burn with passion over you. And only you. Lord, I wanna yearn for you. I wanna burn with passion over you. And only you. Lord, I wanna yearn. Lord, I want to yearn.
So to finish that up, I just want to give you two announcements that are, I didn't tell you them to speak on faith, but Jeff and James did a great job of just tying into where we're headed during this season. You're headed into Lent this weekend, or this week. Okay, Ash Wednesday is March 1st, this Wednesday night. And as it starts, a couple thoughts for you. One, it even happened here. I won't name any names, I do it all the time. But I want to call us to try and set an amount of time that you're on social media, that you're on Netflix, that you're on whatever it is. If it's an hour a day, you need to give yourself a stipend of Netflix time, okay? Whatever that is, or Facebook, something that, because I saw it in that room back there, because we don't have Sunday school class going on right now, so people were sitting in there, and there was like 6-7 people in there, and they were all looking at their phones. Nobody was talking to each other. Happens all the time. It happens. You go anywhere, and most of the time people would rather talk to their phone rather than talk to the people right next to them. And in Jesus' culture, I mean, if Jesus had a cell phone, I don't know what he'd have done. He probably would have used it, but I think when he was present with something like, can you imagine him woman at the well having this amazing conversation with this woman about to change her life, and he gets a text and says, I gotta go, sorry. You know what I mean? And not leaning into that relationship and letting social media or something distract you from a spouse. Okay? I'm not talking about somebody you don't know, I'm talking about somebody you do know. That you sit in the same room, and it's easier to get on the phone rather than ask a question. Buy a book, or with a child, buy a book that helps you with some questions to have good conversations. Like, don't just settle for the easy. Okay, and that's what I wanted to call us to during Lent is have more conversations with people that you care about, or people that you don't know. Like starting some conversations with people that you don't know, and having some deeper conversations with people that you love. Those two things. And thinking of Lent in the context of, if God cares about people most, then is there anything that during Lent I could give up in order to step closer to the people that God loves and that I love? So that's social media. Most of the time it is, okay? Right now in this age, but it might be something else. Like March Madness is coming up, and that's a really hard time for me to give up TV. You know what I'm saying? Because KU's going to win it all this year. I don't care what anybody said. Anyway, I just want you to think about that as we go into Lent, of maybe setting, okay, each day I will give myself 30 minutes on Facebook and that's it. Or an hour on Netflix and that's it. Okay? Setting some boundaries, anything that is hampering your relationship, setting some boundaries on them. Or giving them up altogether. I'm not trying to, you don't have to do that. I'm saying value what matters most. And what Jesus died for was not ideas, it was people. So how do you need to die this Lent season in order to sustain his movement in you of loving people? What needs to go? And with that, we've got 2 events coming up. Prime Live is next Sunday afternoon. This is a great casual. We're going to feed people. We're going to put that together. We're going to do a taco bar at 5 underneath Prime on the 9. And we're just going to have some food and fellowship time for an hour. That place it's great underneath there. And then we're going to go upstairs, the adults, and we're going to just worship and hear testimonies, pray for one another. It's an awesome experience. It's easy to invite people to. It's closer to town. It's right there at the restaurant. And then also Sunday morning, I'm starting a series that I've been working on over the last month called No Longer Slaves. That is just, I just feel like God wants to break some things out of people's lives in this room, and he wants to break some addictions on people that are keeping them from growing in their faith. And I just think he wants to do some awesome things through this Lent season. So we're going to focus in on it through that message series, but also on Wednesday nights. I was thinking small groups. I want to do small groups, but what we're going to do is really emphasize Wednesday nights and having table conversations about the message. We'll have questions, and we'll recap the message that night, and we'll have questions and scriptures that you'll look up, and you'll get some face-to-face time with people around a table for about 45 minutes every Wednesday night that is just conversation. Get to know one another, talk about the Lord, grow in him. Okay, so that's what Wednesday night. If you can't make Wednesday night work, what I would just like to do is if you would let somebody know, let me know, let Bonnie know, because we are willing to host some small groups in homes using the very same thing we're going to use on Wednesday night and just talk about the message. Talk about the no longer slaves ideas that we're going to be talking about on Sunday. So if Wednesday nights don't work, don't feel like that is a no to small groups, we would love to get into some homes or on a college campus or just anywhere that we can come and have a living room to pull out the questions and the scriptures and just have some conversation around what the Lord wants to do through the No Longer Slave series. Does that make sense? Okay. And we're eating on Wednesday nights at 6:30. We really would like to be done eating by 7. So if we could timely be here, get here and get things eaten and cleaned up so that we have a good hour before getting kids home and getting home and all that good stuff. So just give it up for musicians in the room. Last thing I'd really love for you to do, 2 things. One is like the Facebook Live, if you're a Facebook person, like and share that more, that it kind of gets out there of kind of who we are, how we do church. I think there's a lot of people that are longing for a very authentic, down to earth, talk straight environment, that they need that to be accepted so they can grow. So that's a way that you can get that out. And the other way is, y'all wouldn't have heard a word we said if there was 19 kids running around in here during service. Okay? So when you leave here, even if you don't have kids, I want you to go back there and hug the neck of a volunteer that took care of kids. Okay? I want you to appreciate them. And Christy and Marcy today, hug some necks, tell them thank you, send them flowers, whatever you do. I mean, we just want to develop that culture to where this doesn't happen if we've got little kids running around. And they learned a lot more back there too. Okay?
Yeah.
It's mutually beneficial if that is successful, and it takes volunteers. So I love you. Let me pray a blessing over you. Jesus, we're about to leave. We were gathered here in your presence, and now we're about to be scattered. And I pray that as you scatter us, like seed even, that you would plant us in some environments where you're trying to love on a person and you need one more valiant heart beside them that calls them back into the light, into encouragement, into hope, into there can be a difference made in their life. And that you would scatter us as seeds of hope in our community and in our culture. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it.